preparing at the moment. It's a flagship addressing techno-socioeconomic challenges of the 21st century. And here's just one quote by Jean-Claude Trichet, who said, "When the crisis came, the serious limitations of existing economic and financial models immediately became apparent. We felt abandoned by conventional tools." And I would say that's just one quotation representative of a situation we are seeing since a few years, that we have more and more difficulties handling the problems that are coming up. So why does our established wisdom fail? Well, this is because our world has changed. We know that, but the world has changed not only a little bit. It still looks similar to what we're used to, but in fact it has changed fundamentally because we have changed the interactions between those objects that we see. So globalization and technological change have created a strongly coupled world. We have now a global exchange of people, money, goods, information, and ideas, and each of these systems is strongly connected. And beyond that, there are strong interdependencies between different systems, and it has either aggravated problems that we know for a long time or has created new problems. So here's a list on the right-hand side. I don't read them all, but what I need to point out is that the network infrastructures that we have created to create new services and opportunities also create pathways for disaster spreading, and we need to be aware of that. So just in the last years, we were struggling with 3 mega events which have actually the potential to change the global power landscape. The financial crisis, the Arab Spring, the Japanese earthquake and nuclear disaster, all of that can really change our world. We don't know what will happen in the end. And so we need to understand really this strongly connected world. And the question is, what are the characteristic features of a strongly connected world as compared to a weakly connected world that our intuition was trained for? First of all, there tends to be a faster dynamics. We know that all. There's an increased frequency of extreme events, and very unfortunately, they can have almost any size. Strongly connected systems are characterized by self-organization and strong correlations. They dominate the system dynamics. And in many cases, system optimization is not possible in real time, even with supercomputers, because the optimization problems are just too big and NP complete in many cases. There are many unwanted feedback effects, cascade and side effects, and those complex systems that we have created often show counterintuitive behavior. Altogether, that implies that predictability goes down, possibilities of external control are limited, and there is a larger vulnerability to random failures and external shocks, which altogether also creates a loss of trust. And we know that also that politics is struggling with this situation, that people are doubting the power of public institutions to get control of the problems we're facing. I usually show a video about chain reactions, but I haven't uploaded it for the moment. You can certainly have an imagination by yourself. But after all these kind of challenges we have to address, I should also say it's not that bad. There are also a lot of opportunities, and cascading effects can also be used to the positive. So here's an example. How do we manage these complex systems in the future? Well, top-down control, as I've indicated before, will not work in many cases for complex systems. Rather than controlling the single element of the system, it becomes more and more important to think about the interactions between those system elements and to stimulate self-organization in a favorable way. That means stimulate bottom-up elements. And actually, here's one example. We've come up with a completely new way of controlling traffic lights in urban spaces. We call it self-control. It's a fully bottom-up process where the traffic flows actually control the traffic lights. And as a result, we'll get more adaptability and flexibility, and actually a better outcome than the classical approach based on supercomputers and centralized control. That's very astonishing. So all the different modes of transport can profit from that. Public transport, individual traffic, pedestrians, cyclists, and the environment. So here is a paradigm shift really in the way to manage complex systems. This is just a picture of the structure of the Future ICT flagship project. You can imagine it's a knowledge accelerator trying to fill the knowledge gaps that have opened up through globalization and technological change. I will focus now on 3 new methods and tools actually to gain new knowledge and understanding of these systems, to explore and manage our complex connected world in the future. So we can see over here, we are planning to come up with a living Earth simulator that's creating artificial societies, simulating techno-socioeconomic systems. So for this we have to create models, but that will allow us to do forecasts based on scenario techniques. However, that requires a lot of data, and we want to generate those data by a system which we call a planetary nervous system, which on the one hand serves to measure our world and to understand it better, but also to deliver those data. And you can imagine that as a global sensor network in principle, where sensor is everything which is delivering data about our world. And then finally, we also want to come up with a global participatory platform to explore and interact. And I will get into more details now. The essential issue is that those data that are required are now becoming available. So there is a paradigm shift, there is a chance for a new data science and also a new complexity science. There's this chance to create these platforms to explore the world by serious multiplayer online games. And there is a chance to come up with something like global collective self-awareness. And so the issue is really to learn how to quantify the social footprint of human decision-making and actions. And that will allow us to avoid harmful actions, to measure the socio-economic climate and so on, and to measure those quantities which are really important for economic growth and human well-being, but cannot be seen. So these are invisible quantities, social capital in particular, such as cooperativeness and trust, which is based on the social network features. And in this way, we can come up with a situation that allows us to deal with the problems we have.
You have to close now, please.
Okay, so thank you very much. I leave this transparency for you.
Thanks very much.